how do Amiibo work in every 3DS game? Today, we'll be looking at all 46 Amiibo-compatible 3DS games and finding out. We'll kick things off with Ace Combat Assault Horizon Legacy Plus, a game I bet most of you have never heard of. With a variety of Amiibo, you can unlock new planes and weapons. It's not even just cosmetic, the planes themselves all control differently too. A lot of the planes are really well detailed and look like something that could potentially exist in real life. Next, we have Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. This one has a ton of Amiibo compatibility, so much so that I can't even scan every Amiibo because it's compatible with every single Animal Crossing card and figure. The Villager Amiibo will net you a golden villager statue, while the cards bring the characters from the cards into your house to visit, or the player can call the character on the Amiibo to design a house for them. At that point, the character is added to the player's contacts, and the characters unlock unique decorations that the player can only use for other clients. The only exception are the statues and foil cards. So clearly, this game is meant to be played if you've already collected a bunch of the cards and figures. It's not much of a game on its own. And after that is Animal Crossing New Leaf. This one is somewhat similar to Happy Home Designer because you'll still get items from a variety of different Amiibo, but the villagers themselves also resemble whoever it is you scan in. So if you pick Wolflink or Ganon as an example, you get villagers that kind of look like them. The Animal Crossing Amiibo functions as you'd expect. That character can visit you or give you an item. Now we have Azure Striker Gunvolt 2. This one is pretty basic. You scan in Shovel Knight or the gold version of Shovel Knight to start a boss fight against him. He's incredibly challenging if you don't know what you're doing, so you'll want to put some time into the game first. Depending on which character you clear the fight with, you'll either unlock Shovel Ring or Code of Chivalry. Up next is Bye Bye Boxboy, a basic little puzzle game. You can use QB in a few different Kirby Amiibo. QB unlocks the QC costume, as well as a Game Boy screen filter. QC is the easy mode of the game, as you can use unlimited blocks and have unlimited hints. The other characters are just skins, and they're all pretty adorable. And now we have Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. You may think that the Amiibo would function the same as they do in the Wii U version, but that's actually not the case. Any of the Mario Odyssey Amiibo unlocks the 3 Odyssey-themed levels early. Then Toad will net you an Invincibility Mushroom, and the other Amiibo a 1-Up Mushroom. So no hidden Toads, apparently. But I guess it's kind of neat that the Amiibo function a bit differently. Next, we'll move on to Chibi-Robo Zip Lash. On top of being a pretty garbage game, the Amiibo compatibility isn't great. You can level up your Amiibo, and the purpose for that is to make it easier to get rare Chibi capsules. You can also use a bunch of other Amiibo to get different poses for figures, but you don't get them by just scanning. You have to pull them from the toy capsule machine, and without leveling up Chibi-Robo, it's incredibly hard to actually pull the figures that you scanned in. This basically means that you need to play the game a good amount to actually level up and increase your chances of getting the poses. I get the idea of having this mechanic for things already in the game, but why on earth should that matter for the Amiibo themselves? And you can only pull from the capsule machine 20 times a day, so there's really no reason to use it until you've leveled up more. The last thing this game has is Super Chibi-Robo, which makes him gold and gives him an extra long power cord. There's really no reason to bother playing this game, let alone using the Amiibo, as it serves as nothing more than a massive headache.
Codename S.T.E.A.M.
Following that is Codename S.T.E.A.M. You can scan in Ike, Lucina, Marth, and Robin and add them to your team. The one thing that's different about them compared to the other characters in the game is that they can't be revived during checkpoints in a fight, so it's actually kinda similar to how Fire Emblem works, which is pretty cool. Each character also controls and works very differently, so in a way, this is more like Skylanders than any other 3DS game. Now we have Detective Pikachu. The only Amiibo that works is this massive hunk of a Pikachu, and he allows you to unlock all the cutscenes up until the current chapter. This is very pointless if you ask me, considering this game is almost entirely story-based. I mean, you'd want to watch the cutscenes as you're playing anyway. Up next is Fire Emblem Echoes Shadows of Valentia, and the amiibo are used in a couple of different ways. By scanning Alm and Selkia, you can unlock character-exclusive dungeons, and also summon them as illusory heroes during a battle. You can summon the other Fire Emblem amiibo characters, and they're used for the same purposes. You can also summon illusory units with the other amiibo figures and cards, and they all vary quite a bit. It takes a bit of time to get access to the amiibo, but they can be pretty helpful in battle. But that's not all for the franchise, since Fire Emblem Fates is next. By scanning Ike, Lucina, Marth, and Robin, you first have to beat them in a battle. Once you've done that, you can add them to your party. You'll need to play for quite a while since their battles are pretty tough, so getting access to them is actually really beneficial. They aren't super beefy characters, but helpful enough that getting them is worth it if you're already invested in the game. And now for our final Fire Emblem game. We have Fire Emblem Warriors. By scanning Chrom or Tiki, you can get an amiibo exclusive weapon. The other Fire Emblem characters also give you weapons, and the other amiibo will give you materials or gold. You can only scan up to 5 amiibo a day, so it's the typical stuff you'd expect from the figures. It's time to switch to Hey Pikmin, and there's actually quite a bit to cover here. You can call in backup Pikmin with the Pikmin amiibo, as well as call in 4 backup Pikmin with the Olimar amiibo. The Pikmin amiibo can be registered to an in-game area called Pikmin Park. Once registered, the amiibo will level up depending on how many Pikmin you have in the park itself. Then we'll move on to all of these other figures. Every single one of these exact figures, and not other versions of them or their cards, can all appear and be collected to gain energy points. You scan in all these amiibo on the world map, and then an in-game statue appears. Each amiibo also gives you 200 Sparklinium, and can even be viewed as a 3D model. On top of that, by using the Pikmin amiibo again, you can make a random figure appear. And finally, using any of the other amiibo will give you energy points once per day. So yeah, there's a boatload of amiibo compatibility. I don't know if I'd really say it's worth doing because the game itself isn't that great, but there's a ton of stuff you can unlock if you have the amiibo for it. And now we move on to Hyrule Warriors Legends. By using a majority of the Legend of Zelda amiibo, you'll unlock a weapon that's rated 3 stars or higher. Using any other amiibo gets you rupees, crafting materials, or a weapon rated lower than 3 stars. So it functions the same as the Wii U version of the game, but without the Twilight Princess spinner. Moving on to Kirby Battle Royale. You can get amiibo cosmetic gear based on the character you scan in. And of course, your options are the Kirby amiibo and Kyubi. However, you can't get access to them right away. You'll need to play and reach the Silver and Platinum League and DDD's Cake Royale, and then purchase them with in-game currency. These are all just cosmetic changes, so you don't really need them. Like Kyubi's hat is replaced with Bomb Kirby, just as an example. It's probably not worth going for the amiibo skins unless you're invested with the game to begin with. Next up is Kirby Planet Robobot. This game has a crazy amount of amiibo compatibility. It works with tons of Smash Bros. Figures, Animal Crossing cards, and a variety of other ones. The idea is to give Kirby a copy ability that's based on the amiibo's abilities, and you also get a health item. While this isn't necessarily helpful for a game that's already easy, it's pretty cool that this many amiibo are compatible to begin with. You can also scan other amiibo to get a random ability, so it works with pretty much all of them. And if you're playing Meta Nightmare Returns, you can scan any amiibo to get a health item. Surprisingly, Kirby's Blowout Blast of all games use amiibo. By using any of the Kirby amiibo, you can build a statue in the plaza, and it also plays some special music. It's not much, but I guess it adds a little more value to an already short game. For the last Kirby game, we've got Kirby's Extra Epic Yarn. By using any of the Kirby amiibo, you can equip a power-up hat that matches the character. With Meta Knight, you get a sword, King DDD gives you bombs, and Waddle Dee and Kirby let you throw yarn balls whenever you want. Adding abilities to Kirby's Epic Yarn was already a downgrade for some people, so I can't imagine using these amiibo are going to be very enticing. That is, unless you actually like that Extra Epic Yarn has the added abilities, then maybe these would be up your alley. And now it's time for Luigi's Mansion. The Amiibo in general offer ways to make this game a bit easier. By scanning in Luigi, you have a chance to revive yourself when you're out of health. The Amiibo also lights up furniture that have speedy ghosts to prevent you from getting hit by them. By scanning in Toad, talking to Toads will restore your health. Then scanning in the Boo Amiibo makes the map show the locations of 3 hidden Boos that have escaped capture, which is honestly a really nice quality of life upgrade. And finally, a variety of Mario Amiibo will change poison mushrooms to health restoring super mushrooms. These Amiibo have a really good balance of not being too intrusive to the gameplay. Yes, they can be helpful, but they aren't so helpful that it breaks the game entirely. It's one of the best uses of Amiibo I've seen on the 3DS. Time to take a breath for this title, because next is Mario & Luigi Bowser's Inside Story plus Bowser Jr.'s Journey. By using a large variety of Mario Amiibo, you can get some helpful chests. They'll contain 1 to 3 items that'll help out, so it's pretty handy, but also not overpowered. Up next is Mario & Luigi Paper Jam. By scanning a bunch of different Mario Amiibo, you can use character cards in battle. The cards themselves can actually be pretty helpful too, but you'll need to play up to the first boss before you can actually use them. And you also need to obtain question mark cards. So Amiibo can get a lot of use in battle, but you don't really need them to play the game. We're not done with Mario yet, as we move into Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga plus Bowser's Minions. You can scan a bunch of different Mario Amiibo to get stamps and equipment for the main game. However, that's not all the Amiibos do. The side mode, Bowser's Minions, also has Amiibo compatibility. You can get a stamp, equipment, and a special ability with Boo, Goomba, and Koopa. The only issue with that is that Minion Quest isn't very fun. You need to play through the majority of the mode to use the Amiibo, and they're required to level up certain characters. It's very grindy and probably isn't worth the effort for most people. Moving on, we have Mario Party Star Rush, and the Amiibo are used in a lot of weird ways. Using a bunch of different Mario Amiibo, you can play as the scanned character and get an extra item. Usually this is an extra dice, as an example. What's really strange is that if you have game data from Mario Party 10 of all things saved on these Amiibo, the special dice from that game actually carries over to Star Rush. Even using Gold Mario or Silver Mario will give you a gold dice or silver dice to use in-game. If you scan a Boo Amiibo before playing Boo's Block Party, a Boo-themed background will appear. You can also play the Chill track and Rhythm Recital by scanning in a Dr. Mario Amiibo. And finally, you can see fireworks, shooting stars, balloons, or confetti in the hub world by scanning any other Amiibo. Despite there being a bunch of oddly specific ways to use them, none of them really do much to make the game more fun, especially since Star Rush is already one of the worst Mario Party games. That's not all for Mario Party, as we move to Mario Party The Top 100. When playing Minigame Island, you can use a bunch of Amiibo to get coins, or revive your character once. If you land on a space with a Goomba or Koopa next to it, you can get 50 coins. But any other Amiibo will net you 10 coins. On top of that, you can unlock minigame packs by scanning Goomba and Koopa Troopa, which boils down to minigames that feature those 2 characters. So again, there isn't much value here. Moving to the sports games, we have Mario and Sonic at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games. Compared to the Wii U version, it's a little bit easier to use the Mario and Sonic Amiibo. After beating Mario and Sonic's story, you can scan the Amiibo to get Gold Mario and the Supersonic suit respectively. It only lasts for 24 hours, and it basically just powers you up for the minigames. So it's an alright reward for beating the game, I suppose. And finally, we're at Mario Sports Superstars. You can use all 90 Mario Sports Superstars cards to enhance every character in the game, and also play the Road to Superstar mode. While the cards don't really do much in-game, the designs are kind of neat. I mean, we have a bunch of brand new renders of Metal Mario and Pink Gold Peach that were made specifically for this game, so I guess that's neat for the most pointless characters in the world. And now we move on to Mega Man Legacy Collection. Using any Mega Man amiibo, you can unlock 11 exclusive challenge stages that were designed by fans. While it's really cool to get a bunch of new content, that's a lot to lock behind an amiibo. Although at the time, they were offering a version of the game with Gold Mega Man packed in, so I guess that makes things easier. The challenge stages are tough as hell too, so if you want a challenge, then you'll find it here. Up next is Metroid Prime Blast Ball. The amiibo this time are pretty basic. These ones unlock skins based on the character. Can I just say, there's something really funny about having body army skins for a first-person game, but it's harmless for what it is. And now it's time for Metroid Prime Federation Force. Once again, the Metroid amiibo can all be scanned in and are used as skins, but they all do a little more this time, seeing as you can get extra ammo from Samus in Zero Suit and more health capsules with Metroid. So per usual, it's pretty basic stuff. For the final Metroid game, we have Metroid Samus Returns. There were 2 Metroid amiibo made specifically for this game, and the Smash Bros. Ones can also be scanned in. With Metroid Samus, you can get Aeon Reserve tanks that refill your gauge when empty, but you also unlock Metroid 2 art after beating the game. Then the Metroid amiibo places a Metroid marker on the map so you can see the closest Metroid, and you also unlock the Fusion difficulty after beating the game and can even play with the Fusion suit. The Smash Bros. Samus amiibo gets you a Missile Reserve tank, and you'll unlock concept art after beating the game. And finally, the Zero Suit Samus amiibo gets you an Energy Reserve tank, and you'll unlock the Sound Test mode at the end of the game. It's time to move to Miitopia. A large amount of amiibo unlock a character-based costume in-game. It's just for aesthetics, but it's nice that you can interchange the costumes and headgear. On top of that, you can also get tickets for playing mini-games by scanning any other amiibo. So they don't add much to the game, but for Miitopia, that's not really that big of a deal. Now we have the Mini Mario and Friends Amiibo Challenge. Using a bunch of different amiibo, you'll unlock levels that are related to that character. Each character also has their own abilities, so there's actually quite a lot of stuff packed in here. But like with the Wii U version, you need these amiibo to play the entire thing, which is a pain. But it's a pretty solid puzzle game if you already have the amiibo. I'd even argue that it's better than the Wii U version just because it's more convenient to see the entire map since it's right on the top screen instead of on the TV. And next, we've got Monster Hunter Stories. Using the Japanese exclusive Monster Hunter amiibo, you can unlock a special Monstie to be used in the game. This is pretty awesome, but you do need to play a lot of Monster Hunter Stories before you can actually use them. And you can also get bonus items by scanning in any other amiibo. What I find really fascinating about this is that these amiibo are only released in Japan, yet they work with North American games and 3DSs. And now we move to the Nico Nico app. Now, what does this application use the amiibo for? Well, saying it's complicated is an understatement. First off, the Nico Nico app is discontinued, so there's no way of accessing it on any 3DS. However, I know that it's compatible with the Callie and Marie amiibo, and it has to do with a live musical performance that happened in 2016. So I tried looking it up to see if anyone has footage of actually using this app with the amiibo, and I couldn't find a single video of anyone doing this. I did find one video of someone talking about the Nico Nico app, so I contacted them asking for help, but they didn't have an answer. So at this point, I had to do a lot of digging, and eventually found an article from Go Nintendo that led me to perfectlynintendo.com. And from there, I got more confused, because apparently there's 2 versions of the same music performance that could be played. If you scanned in Marie, the video on the 3DS would focus on Marie, and vice versa for Callie. So that's when I went to Nico Nico's website and started doing a lot of different searches. I searched 3DS Amiibo Splatoon and 3DS Amiibo 2016 and wasn't finding anything. Eventually, I just googled the Nico Nico app Amiibo videos, and then I went to images, and lo and behold, that's when I found out what the Splatoon performance was called. The Shio Collab at Tokiagi 2016, and it was live streamed through Nico Nico themselves. So I looked up the video on Nico Nico's website, and I found what might be the original performance, but it could also be a re-upload. I have no way of knowing this. And this same video can also be found on Nintendo's official channel, but this still wasn't what I was looking for. But let's go back to the screenshot for a second, because looking closer at it, you'll see there's a bunch of text covering the video. This is actually how comments work on Nico Nico. They scroll across the screen, and skinning the amiibo would also change the color of these comments. So with all of that said, that is probably the closest we will ever get to seeing the Nico Nico 3DS's amiibo functionality in action, unless someone out there has met the following requirements. 1. They had a Japanese 3DS that was also modded as a capture card. 2. They had the Callie and Marie amiibo. And finally, 3. They were massive Splatoon and Nico Nico fans and recorded the event when it actually went live and used both amiibo in 2016. Yeah, so the odds of us finding that specific person is slim to none. But if you're out there, then let me know down below. And after that, we have One Piece Super Grand Battle X. This is another Japanese-only game. You scan in a bunch of different amiibo to unlock costumes that have special abilities. I love how goofy everyone looks, and despite it being a major pain in the butt to get the game working properly on my end, it's pretty solid. It kind of reminds me of Smash Bros, but controls way differently and has a different art style. Next up, we've got Picross 3D Round 2. By scanning a bunch of different amiibo, you'll unlock a unique puzzle that relates to that character. The only exceptions are Peach and Toad, as they have the same puzzle. Considering how many puzzles the game already has, adding an extra 9 is a pretty sweet bonus, and you even unlock a statue of the character afterwards. Now we move on to Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World. You can scan in a ton of different amiibo and get different Yoshi skins, plus scanning in other amiibo gets you a generic t-shirt pattern. You can also unlock a double Yoshi mode by scanning any regular or yarn Yoshi, and you play as 2 Yoshis at once. It's pretty bizarre, but a neat thing to have. You're also able to save your favorite yarn patterns to any yarn Yoshi amiibo, and you can bring Poochy into levels by scanning the yarn Poochy amiibo. The amiibo functionality is basically the same as it was in the Wii U version, and it's nice to see all of it brought over to this port. And moving on, we have Shovel Knight. As you'd expect, there's a decent amount of amiibo compatibility with this game, but it's not as complete as the Wii U or Switch version, as there's no challenges that are unlockable through the amiibo. You can still get access to Custom Knight, which is a version of him that you can level up and unlock a bunch of relics, charge attacks, abilities, and costumes. And you can also summon amiibo with Mad Amiibo, and by scanning any of the Shovel Knight amiibo, you'll get little pals that just kind of hang out with you. They don't do anything gameplay-wise, but they're still pretty awesome. And that's about it. The Showdown mode isn't on the 3DS version either, so it's less than what you can get from the Wii U version. Next up is Style Savvy Fashion Forward. By scanning in a handful of amiibo, you can get character-themed accessories, or you can unlock a star accessory by scanning any other amiibo. In order to do this, however, you need to play the entire game and then some. What the game boils down to is figuring out what clothes the amiibo wants, and that comes down to unlocking all the stores and buying them. So if you're a true gamer, you'll have to play around 30 hours to unlock all the amiibo accessories. If you're a teenage girl, this game is probably awesome. But to everyone else, eh? But anyway, on to Style Savvy Styling Star. The amiibo compatibility is similar to Fashion Forward, but it takes less time to unlock everything. Once you reach Fashion Level 8, you can start scanning the amiibo in and getting character-themed patterns of clothing. You can also change the colors and make a brand logo for the amiibo. With the other amiibo, you'll get a pattern or emblem. So all in all, the functionality is a bit better. And next up is Super Smash Bros. For Nintendo 3DS. By scanning in any of the Smash Bros. Amiibo, you can train and level them up. It's exactly the same as the Wii U version, and is still one of the best ways to use Amiibo. Following that is Team Kirby Clash Deluxe. By scanning in the Kirby Series Amiibo or QB, you'll get 20 fragments. The Smash Bros. Kirby Fighters get you 10 fragments, while the other Amiibo 5 fragments. What these do is allow you to buy items in the shop, so it's somewhat useful. And now for one of the weirdest games, Teddy Together. Think Nintendogs, but with a bear that talks to you in the creepiest voice of all time. After spending some time with Teddy, you'll be able to scan in any amiibo to get coins. The coins are used for the game's shop to buy things like clothes, food, seeds, and so on. Most amiibo will give you 200 coins, but you can also scan in a lucky amiibo and get 1,000 coins. This game is pretty bizarre, and might be worth looking into if you're morbidly curious, but the amiibo don't do much for the game itself. Following that is WarioWare Gold. By scanning in a bunch of different amiibo, Wario will make a very crude sketch of that character that can be exchanged for in-game coins. By scanning the other amiibo, Wario will make some sort of generic sketch for the same purpose. This is honestly hilarious. I really wish you could scan more than 3 amiibo a day. After that, we've got Word Puzzles by Poggy. By scanning any amiibo, the game will generate a word puzzle that's based on that amiibo's nickname and its owner's name. So if you're into puzzle games, then you get a lot out of the amiibo with this one. And for our final game, we have Xenoblade Chronicles 3D. This one is only compatible with the Shulk Amiibo. By scanning them in, you unlock 3 tokens that can be used to unlock new songs and 3D models of the characters. While you can also get the tokens in-game, scanning Shulk gets you at least one new thing for your collection, so it's a nice little bonus overall. And that's everything you could possibly know about Amiibo functionality for every 3DS game. If you'd like to find out how Amiibo work in every Wii U game, then click the card right now. And with that, thanks for watching.